Hey y'all, Chef G here, and today I am going to make a homemade percussion instrument. I hope that you follow along with me and make an instrument of your own. And before we get to that, I just want to talk a little bit about music and about what we can use these percussion instruments for. So when we think about music, we often think about something called the beat. And that's B-E-A-T, not B-E-E-T, though I do love me some B-E-E-Ts also. But the beat of any piece of music is the pulse. So just like you can feel your pulse from your heart, it's the same idea. It's the kind of the current that's running through the whole piece. So if you were listening to a song, you find that you're kind of nodding your head along with it, snapping your fingers. That's usually because you're feeling and picking up on the beat, that undercurrent of rhythm. So it could be something really simple. It could be just hands. It could be a full drum kit, a bass line, a bunch of beatboxers into microphones. It could be really, really complex. So what we're going to work on today is making a percussion instrument that we can use to make our own beats that we can make more and more complex as we practice and as we learn, as we make music with other people. Or we can just keep it real simple and play along with songs that we listen to on the radio, bring it to campfire and play along with our campfire songs. Whatever you want to do with your musical instrument, whatever kind of beats you want to make, sweet. I also want to recognize real quick that lots of people out there are already making beats. Maybe you are a musician or a percussionist, or you're just drumming on the table sometimes when you're waiting for something. And that's so cool. So tell me what you know. Leave a comment about that, and we can share some musical knowledge together. I also wanted to say that beats are really helpful for me. They help me feel calm. I have been on a lot of video calls. I have sat on my computer for like a long time every single day. And so I get really fidgety. I usually have like a rock or a pencil or something that I can kind of mess with. And it helps me stay focused. And sometimes when I don't have that, I do a little beat on my chest like this. Or maybe I'm just drumming my fingers or like nodding my head a little bit. And that helps me like feel good. That helps me feel calm, reminds me to take a deep breath, and helps me focus when I need to be sitting for a long time. So the percussion instrument that I'm going to make today is a shaker. You maybe have made one of these before at camp or at school or just by yourself. They're really, really versatile. We can use a shaker in a lot of different contexts, and a lot of professional musicians use shakers in a lot of different contexts too. So the things that we're going to need to make a shaker is some sort of container, preferably not glass, so we can't risk breaking it. I have a paper towel tube that I'm going to cover the ends of once I have my stuff inside. You could also use a small container like this. You could use an Altoids tin or something like a little box. Anything that you use will be perfect as long as it can hold securely whatever the stuff that you're putting inside is. We also might need some tape for that, or maybe some note cards. So I'm gonna just cover this. I could do that with tape, but I don't want it to be too sticky, so I'm gonna use a piece of paper right here. And then we need things to put inside. We need a bunch of small things. So my options that I have selected, this is where I keep my safety pins in this tin. So we could use something kind of big, like a safety pin. That's the sound it makes inside an Altoids tin. Metal with metal. It's kind of like a harder sound. On the opposite end of the spectrum, really, really small grains of salt. In a plastic tin, it's a lot softer. It's kind of just washing over me. So that's one option. And then I also I got a lot of lentils at home. So I have a bunch of lentils in a plastic container too. Those will sound like, oh yeah. Whatever materials you use, make sure that your hands are clean before you're starting. Make sure that the container that you're going to use to become your shaker is also clean. And then for me, like if I'm going to use my lentils, I would like to eat those at some point too. So I'm going to make sure everything is clean every step of the way. So whenever I want to make a new shaker or I want to eat some lentils, I can break this one down, cook up the lentils, and be safe. So I'm going to make my shaker with this here paper towel tube. To start, I'm going to cover one end with a note card and some tape. I have a bunch of different like small rolls of washi tape that will also become some of my decoration. If you want to use a marker or maybe like staple paper over here, whatever way you have to close up one end, that's just what we're going to do now. Feel free to decorate first too. You know what? I ought to do some decorating, you know? That's where the real magic in music happens. Sweet, I decorated my little bub. Maybe they're a vampire? I don't know. Those are some fangs there, but they're saying, "Was shaken!" Got some arms, so they're ready to dance. And bear with me while I attach this here. So I'm gonna do one strip of tape holding on this side, another from this side, and then these two sides. But we're gonna speed up the tape a little bit so we don't have to sit through all of this. So there we have it. That does not feel at all secure enough, so I'm gonna do some loops around with some other tape to hold everything tight. Now we're cooking. All right, bub, you got a little footer on you, cool. And if I look through, I shouldn't be able to see any cracks of light. So I know it's gonna hold whatever I put into this. Because this is a little, I feel like salt could probably fall out of this. I'm gonna save my salt for when I make a shaker out of a plastic container like this with a lid that will snap on tight. And I'm gonna use some lentils. So very carefully, maybe do this over a bowl. So when I inevitably spill, I'll be able to use those lentils still. I'm gonna carefully pour in some. And this is where we as the creator and as the musician get to decide how much we put in for whatever we want it to sound like. If we put in a little, only a few lentils, that'll mean that there's not a ton of things moving around inside our shaker, but there's a ton of space for them to move around in. If we fill this all the way to the top, there's a lot of stuff in there, but it's kind of holding itself together, so it won't be able to move nearly as much. So I'm gonna fill like maybe approximately a quarter to a third of this tube full of lentils, and then just kind of give it a gentle shake to see what that sounds like. Try it like that. Cool. I spilled 2. I'm pretty proud of that. So it's kind of a gentle sound, and I'm into that. So I'm just gonna call that good enough. If you want to fill it up more and make some different sounds, that's awesome. Whatever container you're using, you make that choice. So now I'm just gonna cap off the top, and then we've got our instrument. We're ready to rock and roll. Scissors might help too. Shaker top on, shaker bottom on, ooh. And that's the sound that the shaker creates. So that's like that much full of lentils in the scope of this paper towel tube. And so I can tip it back and forth like this and listen to them slowly move inside. I can also shake it a little more forcefully. Set change, costume change. Robert is gonna walk us through making a shaker with his own supplies at his place, just to share some more creativity and inspiration. So follow along with him now.
All right, so we're gonna make a shaker. And the first and most important step is to determine what we're gonna make the shaker out of. So let's just take a quick tour around the old apartment and see if we can't find anything. I have these, I have nails. Probably do something with that. I also have some rice and quinoa in the kitchen, so could definitely do something with that, I think. Maybe get a couple different options for sound and tonal qualities. So let's take a look at the kitchen. So we're here in my kitchen, which is good because this is where I keep the food. And we have a bunch of different options. I mean, first off, we've got like a already done shaker right there for inspiration. But I think what we could also do is definitely use some rice. And boom. Maybe even if we really feel like getting wild, not sure. I have some quinoa, a bunch of Costco quinoa. And I think this is gonna be the start. Oh, also, duh, let's just freaking use a bowl with a lid. If you have any leftover Tupperware, this is perfect. So let's go assemble it. Okay, so we're back and we've got our supplies now. Got this, Feels like, how can it go wrong, right? And now I'm just gonna do a couple different tests to figure out what sound I like the best, and maybe we'll even do a combo. So we got some nails. I think kind of feels like it's gonna give us like a high-pitched, maybe a little bit more tinny sound. Let's just do nails by itself, see what it sounds like. Okay. It's a lot more bassy than I expected. So next we're gonna put some rice in, see if we can't get like the smallness of the rice, maybe make it a little bit higher pitch. Now I'm going for long grained brown rice, but that's because it's all I have. You can use whatever you have. Literally, if you haven't gathered, you can do anything here. Just, you know, put stuff together. Music is everywhere. Okay. Test 2. Already I'm liking that better, and I know what you're saying to yourselves at home. Rob, that sounded the same. I think you're kind of right, but I think had a little bit more heart, a little bit more soul. Let's give it more heart, more soul, more protein. Now, truth be told, I don't have a lot left, so I'm actually not going to use a ton. I'm just going to give it about equal parts rice, I think maybe is the move. And yeah, just a nice like 2-to-1-to-1 ratio of nails to rice to quinoa. All right, let's test this. Oh, Graham, that's the one I'm gonna lock in. That is my choice. This, maybe we even write my name on it. Take out your Sharpie. Specifically, this is my Maraca Sharpie. We're just gonna call this Rob's. I have no idea how to spell maraca, so we're gonna call it a shaker. Boom, Rob's shaker. And that's it.
So that's it. We can make a ton of different sounds with this one instrument. We can also play it in different ways. So however you choose to play your shaker, if you have a favorite song that you're playing it to, or if you make a beat or a song of your own, that is amazing and I want to hear about it. Comment below, send some pics of what you're making, and totally bring it with you to campfire tonight, or the next time you listen to a song, play along. And remember, if you're nodding your head as you're listening to it, you can probably shake along to it and find that beat. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being a musician and a creative human being, and I will see you next time.